While this podcast may discuss medical issues and at times answer or discuss listeners' questions, this podcast is not offering any individual medical advice, nor meant to substitute for individualized professional medical treatment or advice. So please remember that all content is for informational purposes only. And please consult with your own healthcare provider for your own issues and diagnosis. If you think you may have a medical emergency, do the right thing and call your doctor or go to a local emergency room or call 911 immediately. Never delay seeking individualized help for a problem based on something discussed here. Take care of yourself. You're worth it. Okay, everybody, welcome back. I know I'm hoping you all stayed around for that 7-day commercial break. I'm working on getting my lighting right. As you could see, we're broadcasting live from the from Treasures in Las Vegas. This looks like the VIP room where you would pay $500 for a bottle of champagne, and she would touch it just until Bruno showed up, and you'd have to finish in the lot. Wish I knew what any of that meant, but listen, my past is not your problem. Hi, everyone, and oh boy, it just gets worse and worse with this. You like this shirt? Speaking of, this is what's going to get better. I want all you fucking Trump supporters out there and all you boogaloo bears or you inbred white trash with the ARs. Look at this. See this? See what it says on my man boobs? Joey, 46. Kamala, it's going to be number 47. I'm staying positive because I'm on a new medication, and I look like I have like blue eyeshadow on. Did that not come off from last night? I was at the Queen Mary doing my Liza impression. Anyway, I'm just this is a week of self-care. I had my back shaved. I had a COVID test yesterday because I have a routine colonoscopy coming up this week. I'm about to do the clean out. I'm going to be as fresh as a June bride, and I'm going to go in there, and they're going to look at the big Jew's dumper, and who knows what they're going to find. But I do it routinely. So any of you men out there over 40 or earlier, if there's any history of colon cancer or Ray Romano's nose up your ass, if you have any of these symptoms, please take care of you. So the COVID test, negative, by the way, negative, and I'm very excited about that. And I'm gonna get checked. I'll tell you what was scary last time, and then we're gonna bring in Travis, and then Mike Malone is joined us today. He could have left already. A very, very brilliant comedian, author. I sound like Merv Griffin. Ooh, he's a comedian. He's an author. Does his own stunts. No one remembers Merv, do they? My last colonoscopy, which was 3 years ago, I used to do it every year, but as things look okay, so now I'm in around a 3. My last colonoscopy, oh my gosh, when they put out a big guy, they're always afraid of, the propofol, the MJ juice, I call it, the thing that Michael took every night to go to Neverland. You know what I mean? They're always worried about overdoing my anesthesia because I'm large, and they always ask me, "How much you weigh? How tall are you? How much you weigh?" And I tell them, and they just, they get out the dart gun, and I get a 10-minute head start. But my last colonoscopy, I actually woke up a little before they were done, and you're woozy as hell. It's like a Sunday at Mike Malone's house. You had no idea where you are. And I woke up, and the doctor was like, he was trying to talk me back out as they were shooting more shit into the IV, because I was like, well, I gotta. And the doctor's like, oh, you're going to be fine, Brad. We're almost done. If you want to look up at I can't believe he said this. If you want to look at the monitor, you can actually see where we are in your lower intestine. And he was kind of like talking me off the bridge, right, as I was going back under. And like, so I look at the monitor. Oh my God. You know what I saw, Travis? Kevin Hart. This fucker's in everything. I'm like, what? See who's coming in? Kamala and Joe. Kamala and Joe. We're going to get rid of the clown fart. And that's Danny Bevan's line for Trump. Such a funny, another comedian who won't be on the show. I know we're going to have Danny on it. He calls him the clown fart. And I love that. Travis, come on, because come on here. How are you, Trav?
I'm good. And for those that can't see, if you're just listening to this podcast, his shirt is beautiful mustard yellow, and it has
it's called Canary.
Canary.
Okay, if you're not going to come to the rehearsals, I could find someone else.
Sorry.
I'm telling you, I think this is fucking cancer.
Yeah, you might want to get that looked at.
I had it looked at when I was at the Chimpanzee Barber College, and Mo looked at it and went,
"Oh, Mo the chimp."
Yeah, it means benign.
Yeah, he ripped a guy's nuts off once for bringing another. The other ape ripped his nuts off because of the cake.
Yeah, I need you to stay off the Animal Planet. Okay, Trev. Let's just go to the History Channel, and you could just turn to Debbie next year and go, I was there. I was there. Okay. Speaking of you were there, we know you're a vet.
Yeah.
God bless you. Thank you for your service.
My pleasure.
Unfortunately, you were on the other side with ISIS doing. Look, I always say that go to the stronger team. Why fuck around and wait? Am I right?
I wanted to see what was going on. Sure.
Hello. Okay. My lighting, I may have to stop the podcast. I look a little like I don't want to say a sardine, but I have a blue hue that, okay. Oh, yeah. Tell me about what's going on, because, we were talking earlier before the podcast when we were in the back shooting up. And you were talking about, well, we're all crazed from the latest thing with fucking Donnie Boogaloo. Tell us what Trump threw out, or what the Atlantic is reporting. And I saw I know a lot of the Trump. That's a fake article. That's just hearsay. That Trump would never say that. Where's my daughter? It's getting dark. Tell us what you think and what you heard and how that makes you feel as a veteran.
Well, I'll just start by saying that this is no news that's happening. He's been saying disparaging things about veterans for as long as he's ever been able to get in front of a mic. He publicly has called John McCain and other veterans losers. The Khan family, who are Gold Star family, stood up there and he made horrible remarks about them. This is something that he's used to doing. He says it all the time. Why would we see this and for 1 second think that it was fake? But let's just say maybe the sources are not telling the truth. It sounds exactly like what he's saying. And then you've got Fox coming out verifying that it is, in fact, what was said. And now today he's speculating that it was John Kelly who shared the information. If you never said something, why would you say, I never said that, but if I did, John Kelly's the one that leaked it?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And what's with that? Who is that military guy with that fucking scary mustache? Looks like Nana's vag. Who Bolton? Why the fuck hasn't it? I know he wanted to save everything for the book,
so he could sell a book.
Yeah, so he could sell. Well, now the book is out. Why can't he step up and say what was going down the whole time?
Yeah, there's a great interview with Colbert where Colbert says a lot of that, like, where were you and why did you wait until after the book and all this, and it was a very politician answer. There was just no response to it other than to say, he didn't want to come out and say this, and it was only at this point now he realizes he has to. And Every one of these people that see Trump doing this, what he's doing is wrong. You know it. You're just afraid. You're making your decisions, your political decisions, based on fear only. And that's ruining our democracy. It is tearing it apart.
And I got to tell you something. The Democrats, which is the side I lean on, they got to get some balls, and they got to step up a little more or a lot more, and just go after this fuck. Why is everybody? This guy's the mentality of that schoolyard bully with the same IQ. The guys that you were never picked on. You were probably the bully, right, Trev?
I was a skinny little kid. Yeah, I got picked on, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're Ellen now. Okay, so we'll just bring no. If you're not going to be honest on the No Prisoners podcast,
then I'm not welcome back.
Travis, you look good. Where'd you get the fake brick behind you? Because I think I'm going to get rid of my gay painting behind me and the shot of a '67 Impala. This is all the stuff that I
should. I got that from Amazon. I'll send you one.
Yeah, will you really? Okay,
no.
So that is that is not real brick. You're not broadcasting from San Quentin.
From your basement.
That's actually something you put up on purpose?
I am in your basement at this moment.
Oh, I wish you were. I'd show you where the monkey bit me, and we'd start off with a nice onion dip. Well, listen, so less than 60 days, right? Well, now when this airs, it's going to be probably 52, 53 days until we could go with Joe and Kamala, baby. Joe and Kamala.
We need him to get a little crazy, though. I agree with you. I'm not a Democrat. In fact, I'm not even registered Democrat or Republican.
What are you? Moderate, independent?
No, just I have some.
What are you?
I have some conservative views. I'm a former Marine, so of course the Second Amendment is important, but we need to figure out how that looks.
Right.
But I do lean liberal. All I'm saying is I want to see Crazy Joe. I want to see the guy go off the handle and give this guy fire for the fire that he's putting out there, because it's ignorant. I saw Joe the other day say, well, that's not what a president does. This is the new normal presidency.
That's right.
At least meet him where he's at. Let's see some fire and some Crazy Joe. That's what I want.
Okay. I like that. Crazy Joe and Kamala. And vote. Just fucking vote. Now, the Second Amendment. I'm a supporter of a Second Amendment. Okay. I got one strapped right now to my ankle in case the fiance comes in here and the coffee ain't right.
And one in the colon.
You know how I live. But when you see these boogaloo fuckers with their ARs, on the steps of City Hall, how do you feel about that part?
Well, that reminds me of when Reagan pissed his pants when the Black Panthers rolled up on the Capitol in California with their weapons out, and how that started the weapons ban in California. So it depends on what color you are and what you look like and who's carrying those guns, because most of America sees that and says that's their right. They should be able to do that. Put those same guns in the hands of a bunch of black dudes or some Mexicans or any other nationality, and I will guarantee they will put a stop to it immediately.
Sure they will, the way they usually do. Thank you, Travis. Yeah. Thank you. Go back to bed, and we'll let you know when we make a decision.
All right.
Coming up right here, oh my gosh, a good friend of mine. I like him a lot more than he likes me, and that's okay. We had some problems in Vegas back in the day. No, Mike Malone is one of my faves. He has a new special out that is fantastic called Laugh After Death, and a book called Dead Serious. Terrific stand-up. Great actor. We were actually on I'm Dying Up Here together on Showtime, which is now on Amazon Prime. Show that picture of Malone there, Travis. That's him on the right. I'm on the left with the incredible doodahs. And it was a fun show. We had a great time, and he's a good actor and a good stand-up. And his book, Dead Serious, which you can get Barnes & Noble or on Amazon or on Apple Books, is out as well. I read it. It's great. Here's a bit of his stand-up to see what Mikey's all about.
We lost Wayne a few years ago, and I hate that term. Somebody passes on and they say they lost him. It just sounds so irresponsible. We lost Grandpa. you remember the last place you had us? What jeans were you wearing that day? Or even worse, when somebody says they were taken. Grandpa was taken from us. Grandpa was kidnapped? What the fuck? He's with Jesus now. Oh, you know who kidnapped him. Okay. I press charges, that's for sure. We lost Wayne, and like I said, like when I met Wayne, he was like 200 and something. I was 15. And, so I was already pretty much grown. So we weren't like father and son. We were more like best friends, you know. And so after when he passed, I did the good son and the best friend thing to do. I went home and I cleared out his hard drive. My mom had a chance to see it. Every guy has a deal worked out with his best friend. Shit goes down, burn, everything. Okay? I know this bitch even know to own a computer. You hear me? You hear this old flip phone. Tell her I loved her.
And here is Mike Malone.
What's going on,
So
buddy?
funny. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
Look at you, brother. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
What are you in the ski lodge? Where are you?
I'm going for
5 out, man. You're wearing
fisherman.
the Sexy Fisherman. That's and again, one of my favorite movies. Good to have you on here, man. How are you getting? Gosh, I haven't seen you or anybody, but I miss you. And life is good. You got a beautiful girl in your life. You're living at the beach, and you just figure, fuck everyone. I never hear from you.
Yeah.
How you been getting through this, man? What's it been like?
Man, it's been ups and downs, as I'm sure it has been for everybody. There's some great days, and then there's some other days where it just feels like we're stuck in this never-ending Saturday, you know? It's hard to stay motivated some days. It's hard to actually see an end to this. I never dreamed that we would be, here in September and still on lockdown. This is insane.
It is insane. When do you think live stand-up is going to be able to? I mean, places like Oklahoma and, Florida, they're doing it. But you expected that. They still think it's a hoax out there.
Yeah, I'm getting messages from people in Florida like, come down here, boy, we'll laugh. I'm like, I'm good. I wasn't playing Florida.
Have you thought about it? Because I know you're a road dog. Have you thought about going out?
I don't miss it.
See, I don't, because my act. Why do that to people when things are already so bad?
Why hurt the people? No.
How much do you miss it?
I miss it a lot, but this is the first, I've been touring since I was 23. I started when I was 19, and I started touring when I was like 23, 24. And there for a while, I was doing 46 weeks a year on the road for about 5 or 6 years straight. And so this is the longest I've ever been off the road, been off work. I had to not catch a flight at 5 a.m. and all that stuff. And it was nice at first, and now I'm just kind of settled into it. And I'm thinking about going into radio. Step.
Are you really?
No.
Oh, because I'll tell you, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm thinking about getting my real estate license.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I really am. I just miss. I'm put on a mask, and they go, oh,
exactly.
Ray's brother, he lost everything.
You might be onto something here. You might.
Why not? I think I would crush it. I think I would crush it. You know what I mean? I would take a dump in the guest bathroom right before the open house. I would do it my way, and I'm like so fucking bored.
Yeah,
that I'm thinking of starting a podcast. That's how out of my fucking mind I am. I mean, everyone has one. You had one with that chick, right? Didn't you?
Yeah, Advice from Strangers. Yeah, we were doing self-care stuff.
Yeah, interesting. Never asked me to be on. Let's talk about the special, which I've seen. It's great. I just finished the book. Wish there
Thank
was
you.
more about me in it, but again, because when you think of Dead Serious, you think of my act.
Oh, of course, yes.
But
Yeah.
tell me how Laugh After Death came about. Because what I've always loved about your stand-up is how real it is and how it's grounded in a reality that's dark, and you pull it off so well. How did that special come about?
Well, the real change started happening. I had some advice. I had advice come in from two different people, and one of my good friends, Ricardo Flanagan, a great stand-up. He was telling me, we were talking one night, and he said, all of that stuff that you're not talking about, that's the stuff that people want to hear. And that really resonated with me. And then another friend of mine, Leo Flowers, another great comic, we were talking, and he said, you need to stop worrying about killing and start connecting. And that was something that we had talked about multiple times, that when you see a great comic and they do an hour or whatever, it's a lot of times building an hour is not just kill. You have to connect at some points. You have to bring them in. And a lot of times we're trained, or at least we're brought up the old school way, where when I was coming up, it was laughs per minute. It was, just get up there and destroy a room.
I never worried about that. For me, that went out the window. Yeah. You know what I do to this day? Because I know there are some guys, and we know who they are, who will get off stage and they'll go, man, I had 7 applause breaks. I actually count my moans. People that go, oh God, I can't believe you say that about that guy. So and before the pandemic, and again, I'm not bragging, 10, 11 moan breaks.
That's pretty good.
That's in 9 minutes.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Good. I like to count the walkouts.
Yeah.
That's what
that's always a pool we have every week when I'm at the club. How many walkouts we have. People, they put in $4.
I actually heard a comic. I heard a comic bragging about walking crowds one night. He was like, if you're not walking tables, you're not doing it right. And I was like, what the fuck?
Really?
What do you do? Like, anyways. So when I started connecting with crowds and started to kind of sit in that silence and sit in that uncomfortable feeling of talking about death and loss and my personal story, what I started seeing was a connection like I never had before with my audiences. Like after the shows, people were coming up there sharing their stories. Hey, we just lost my dad. We just lost my brother, my sister, this and that. I had a grown man in Phoenix come up after the show. He hugged me. He started crying on my shoulder, and he told me that he just lost his mother.
That's called an alcoholic. That's an alcoholic.
It's nothing new to you, Brad. You play
yeah,
Vegas
of course
all
not.
the time.
I get a lot of. So he actually came up and expressed that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he said that him and his mom used to come out and watch comedy all the time, and she had passed 3 years ago, and he has not been to a comedy show since. And he came to see my show, and I did the big closing piece about loss and grief and therapy and all that stuff. And he came up afterwards and said this is the first time he'd been to a show since his mom passed, and I really touched home with a lot of the things. And he was just sobbing in my arms. And I was like, "You gonna buy a DVD?" Yeah. And no,
but that's the connection. We always. I think that's why we get into this business, right? To move someone in an art where they connect on a level that's healing but your humor is so cathartic. I know you had an amazing relationship with your mom, right?
Yeah.
So explain to us a little bit how you were hit by that loss and how you dealt with it, because it came on the heels of you losing your stepfather, Wayne, who you were very close with and seemed like a great guy, right?
Wayne was a phenomenal guy. He was a stepdad who stepped up. You know what I mean? Like, for lack of better terms,
love that.
He was incredible. Way better than my. I tout him as the savior of my family. You know what I mean? He was always so good to my mother. And I feel like a lot of times, I've had this conversation recently with a few people, is we learn so much without knowing it as a kid, how we watch our parents. and how we watch how they love each other and how they interact. And we don't know that we're taking all that in as a sponge, really. And as we grow up and we start finding love and we start picking our partners, how we treat them is exactly how we saw our parents treat them. And, you know, my real father, my mother, my dad really wasn't around. You know what I mean? He was such a good dad. He had 2 families. And so,
oh boy, is he still alive?
No, he passed when I was 12.
Okay. Did you have any relationship with him at that point?
Not really. He was in and out. And I like to say that my dad was on everything but the right path. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. So a lot of abuse, substance abuse, stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, and I talk about it in the book a little bit about the relationship I had with him and how he was sober for almost 30 years, and then he bought a bar. he wanted to get out. He was working in a factory, and because everybody in my town, you either make washers and dryers or you make popcorn. There's 2 big factories in town. You pick
and tell
one.
us the town you grew up in is
Marion, Ohio.
Bangladesh. Where?
Marion, Ohio.
Marion, Ohio. Now, for people like me, where is Marion? Closest to what?
In between the balls and the asshole. It's like right in the middle.
That would be the taint,
yes,
I believe.
Yes.
Would that be that would be, so you're from Taint, Ohio.
Taint, Ohio.
And I think I did a stop over there once. I don't recommend it. Yeah.
2 stars.
Yeah, 2 stars. And don't eat there. Wait till you get to Cincy.
It's a small town. I graduated with 73 people in my class and all that stuff. It's a town where there's not
that's
really
a dumb
any
school. Only 73 made it to graduation. How many?
Out of 78.
Yeah. Wow. So you grew up. Now, was it the town where everybody knew everybody, and it was like that?
You know what's really funny is, so my mom would do this. She didn't want me to know about my father's whatever. She always kept him as my father, right? Like never told any bad stories about him.
So she never bad-rapped him. She never bad-rapped him when you were really. That's a rare mom.
But what she would do as I got older is she would let things slip out every once in a while. And I had learned that one of my good friends, so I was on my basketball team, was on my football team, all that stuff. His dad would come to the house every once in a while and just stop by and have coffee and this and that. A guy was my dad's parole officer. Had no idea. Nobody told me. I went to school with his son and his daughter. They never said anything. My mom made sure that it was on the low. So stuff like that, she would let slip out. We were driving one time, and I mentioned this in the book where we're driving one time, and she casually mentioned, she goes, "Oh, that's the prison your father was in."
Just as a matter of fact, right?
Yeah, I'm 30 years old. This is the first time I'm hearing that. I'm like.
And you really knew none of that. You didn't know that he was ever incarcerated or anything.
I had no idea, none of that stuff, and. Well,
how did you feel when that was kind of just, laid out there, and it was something you really just didn't know? Did you feel any type of emotional betrayal, or I wish I would have known, or why are you bringing it up? Because how did you digest that? Because that's kind of heavy, right?
It's so heavy, and I think it hurt us in the long run. Because my mother would not only do that with my father's past, but she was the type of person that would call you up and be like, "Well, Wayne was in the hospital last week and we didn't want to tell you or bother you." And it's like,
right.
Call me, let me know what's going on. And so when she got sick, she wasn't completely honest about how sick she was, what was going on. One of the last times I saw her 3 days before she died. I had no idea. We went to Kohl's. She made dinner.
And you didn't know?
No idea. I mean, I knew that she wasn't feeling great. I did not know that she was on death's doorstep.
Did she know? I mean, was she supposed to go that quickly once you were able to discover about the illness?
I don't think so. She started coughing up blood one afternoon. Went to the hospital to check it out, and
Okay.
she had a rare disease called alpha-1, which is like a lung disease, which is just like your lungs will slowly deteriorate over time. So she
Okay.
was operating at like 60% of her lungs,
Was
something
she
like
a
that.
smoker or any of that?
Never smoked, didn't
Wow.
drink. She'd have a mudslide like once a month playing cards. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Sure.
Like, that was my mother's big,
Yeah.
big night out,
Yep.
So she was coughing up blood. She went to the hospital. They thought it was just scar tissue or old blood from pneumonia that she had in the past or something coming back up.
Yeah.
So they sent her home. It continued for about a week. I saw her on her birthday, which was a few days before she passed. She was fine to me, like she was acting fine. And then she went back to the hospital again because she kept coughing up blood. They wanted to give her some pills and send her home. She said that she didn't know how to, like, she wasn't sure about these pills. She wanted to stay overnight, all this other stuff. They told her no. They refused her. They sent her home, and she had an aneurysm that night, in the middle of the night, and a blood clot and aneurysm in her sleep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's one of those where obviously there's a lot of things happening there, and there's a lot of things that could have been gone differently. But when I talked to her on the phone, she kept telling me she was fine and not to worry about it. Other family members were telling me she was fine. They were covering for her. And what also hurts in the long run, cases like that where you're hiding how you're feeling or you're not being completely honest with somebody, is when Wayne passed. I was keeping strong for my mother because my mother was so positive and so sure that, he had a stroke and a heart attack, and he was kind of comatose. He could only respond through his hand. And
how early was that before your mom's passing? Did Wayne pass?
About a year, almost a year to the date, a year and like 2 months or something like that.
Okay.
So when I see Wayne in the hospital, I know this is the last time I'm going to see Wayne. Nurses and staff are all telling us he's going to pull through. Mom is remaining positive. So I don't want to show weakness in front of my mother. I don't want to do any of that. I want to hide things from her like she's been strong for me. So I go to a different room. I break down. I come back. It's all smiles. We're talking. We're laughing. We're having fun. Flash forward a few years. Obviously, Wayne passes. Flash forward a few years later. I'm talking to my grandmother, and my grandmother tells me that my mother knew that Wayne wasn't going to make it. And she was holding strong, and she was acting like everything was okay for me. And I was holding strong and acting like everything was okay for her. And
you're not allowed to have that feeling of grieving together, holding each other up, showing each other that you can be weak. I think parents have to be able to show their children, and vice versa, they're not made of stone. Boy, this is difficult, because it seems like that was passed down to you as far as you're going into another room to hide. She's holding the information from you to protect you, and you end up being robbed of that camaraderie that comes with life, right?
Yeah.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah, that bonding, that grief. When I look at it now, I'm like, man, I could have been so much more for my mother had I just known. And I look about that with her death too. Like, had she been more honest with me about how she was feeling literally days before she passed, I never would have gotten on a plane. I never would have, to come back to LA and all that stuff. I would have been there for her. I would have stepped up. I would have done all of these things.
Of course.
I would have had more time with her.
Of course. Why do you think she had that go-to of not letting you in on stuff? Was it to protect you? Was it to protect her own fear of what was the reality of the situation? Like, because you guys were close.
Super close.
Yeah. With other emotion, was she as guarded? Was showing love? With talking to you about, where was that?
No, it was an open relationship. We could literally, my friends growing up always were blown away about how open and honest my mother and I were. We could talk about
so lucky to have that.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man. We could talk about anything. And it just got more open as I got older. And but I think it is a protection thing. I think, she was told she would never have children. She tried for years.
And you're an only child, right?
Only child,
Only
miracle
child.
baby, the
Right.
whole deal.
Well, let's not get carried away.
Son of God.
Right.
And, but no, she was always very protective of me and very, if it rained too much, she'd be like, I don't want you driving today.
Okay. I get that, man. That love.
Yeah.
I get that. My mom would be like, go drive today. It's just it's going to clear up. It's just drizzling.
Take that lead foot out. Really let it ride.
I go by CVS, and it's now under a different name, but don't take any of them. There should be 5 yellow ones and a blue. So it was to protect you. It was to protect you, and it was her love for you.
Yeah. And so what I've tried to actively do now that with the book and with my special is break down that barrier, especially this idea of what a man is in America. And I feel like we have a real fucking problem with what makes a real man.
Yes. Why do we have that? Because we've had that forever in this country. Why?
It's ego, and it's also, America is sports. That's what America comes down to. We are so competitive. Even from a young age, we're drilled in our minds that America's number one. We're the best. We're the America first. It's all the stuff drilled in our fucking head, right?
Brilliant.
That we are the
Yes.
greatest. And even when you talk to somebody, everything is sports. Who's your team? Are you Baptist? Are you Catholic? Are you Democrat? Are you Republican? Are you this? Are you that? Like, who's your?
It's all about sides. It's all you have to pick a side, and you have to stay with that. No matter what. Right? That's the thing.
We're built for tough, Brad.
Right.
It's in our language. It's in our commercials. It is everything. It is our identity. It's how tough we are.
Which is fear.
Yes,
which is fear driven.
It's all driven by fear.
Right.
There's
like racism and all that other shit.
Yes, you should not need to bring your fucking AR-15 to Chipotle. You should be okay.
Yeah, exactly. And when you do, I think these fuckers that walk around with their ARs, they are praying some shit goes down.
Oh my God!
Because they are angry and they are deprived and they are emotionally empty and it's like there's a reason.
Yeah,
there is a reason, and it is really a society that has learned that you rub some dirt on it, you fight through it. Violent measures are, hit him before he hits me.
Yeah.
You get in a fight, you should see the other guy. It's always that, as opposed to being able, and I know it sounds corny, but we have not learned to communicate. And I think it's getting worse. I think it's getting a lot worse. And I think when Trump goes away and hopefully maybe to jail one day, who knows?
That'd be great.
But it would be wonderful. I think this is going to be a huge, not only a stain on this country, a stain that's been there for a long time, but I'm hoping it's going to be a wake-up call going, oh boy, okay, well, that can't happen again. But wow, look at the issues that have just come to the surface that have always been here. But America's not great at learning from its past, learning its lessons. We are not really, that isn't one of our strong suits.
We are repeat offenders.
Yeah. Yes.
Really
well put.
are. And I think that I think the generation coming up behind me is, I know they get ragged on a lot, but I really feel like they have some real change happening already. And I can't wait to see what they do in 10 years when they actually have voting power and can run for Congress and all these things. Because what's happening now, my generation asked questions, but we weren't able to unify to get the job done. Right? So we were like, why do I have to go to church on Sunday? And it's like, because your brother's going. Now get in the car. Right. Okay. So the generation behind us is going, why do I got to go to church? And we're like, well, I don't know. And they're like, okay, well, I'm not going. Why do I have to get married? Why do I have to buy a house? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? and they're able to unify through social media, through your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Twitter. They're able to communicate and feel like, oh, I'm not the only one that feels this way. Because my generation, it was like, well, I don't really feel like getting married. And the people directly around you, which is all you could communicate with in your small town or whatever, were all saying, well, I'm getting married. Well, he's already married. Well, they have 3 kids. He's married. What do you mean you're not getting married?
Right.
You can't, you were unable
Which is how
to reach
racism,
outside.
which is how racism and everything else is handed down.
Yes.
Get in the church, wave the Confederate flag, and just fucking do what I say. So the generation under you might be the ones that do that. What would you tell some of the younger people that go, why would I vote? Look at this government. It's all fixed. It's a bunch of old fucking white guys that are, what do you tell them?
You vote for the change that you want to see, and you have to be a part of that. You have to participate. That's if you want to win, you have to participate. You can't sit on the sidelines and go, I wish they would have done more. You have to be the change. And I feel like I felt that way since 2016. I was, you'll appreciate this. I was in Dallas, Texas, and a few weeks, it was during the debates, Trump had just given his speech. Hillary just given her speech a few nights ago. I'm in Dallas, and I asked the crowd, I say, hey, did you guys watch Trump's speech? No. Did you guys watch Hillary's speech? No. And I said, what they really spoke about, what Hillary spoke about, was the same thing that your Dallas sheriff just spoke about a few nights ago, because that was right after the Dallas shooting, right? And I said, he talked about being the change in the community that you want to see. He talked about if you want to see real change in your community and in your government and stuff, sign up for the police force, run for Congress, run for Senate, vote, be the change that you want to see in America, be the change in your community, because that's where it starts.
How many people walked out that night?
5 tables, Brad. 5
Seriously?
tables walked out. And I'm talking about unity. I'm talking about stepping up. I'm talking about being there for fellow Americans, not just, and at this point, it wasn't fuck Trump, because nobody ever thought Trump was ever going to be a serious candidate. Right. So at this point, it was just about.
They don't want to hear it.
Change.
They don't want to hear it.
No,
because
they don't want to hear it.
It hits a nerve.
Yes.
They want it the way it fucking is. Yes. And the other, and imagine the ones that disagreed who didn't walk out.
Yeah.
I knew we were in trouble whenever I was on stage and I would mention Trump in a negative way. It was never the way I feel now, because I have 4 years of evidence behind me. But I would, and Vegas is such a melting pot of not just the country, but it's, the world, as you know, they're coming from all, but just from the people domestically, I could tell when I would say something about Trump, the boos I would get. And I remember close to that November in 2016, I was like, I'd go backstage, I'd go, we are fucked.
Yeah.
We are, this piece of shit has a chance. And that's when you would look at me and go, you should really work on your material. How do you get through loss? How did you navigate that double hit of Wayne and then your mom, 2 people that you loved so much, that were so prominent in your life? How do you navigate that loss?
Well, first, I would say that I didn't do it correctly at all. Right before Wayne had passed, about a year before, I went 30 years completely sober. No booze, no weed.
Is that right?
Tylenol. Mm-hmm. And then
really,
at the age of 30, I started smoking weed, which was, for me, the best time and the worst time. It was the best time because I had already accomplished a lot of things that I wanted to do. I was one of the youngest headliners doing the Funny Bone and Improv circuit. I had a couple TV things happening. I had done shit. I had gotten that out. I'm a workhorse. Yep. And so, but it was the worst time for me because right around the corner was Wayne's death, and I didn't see that coming. And so when Wayne passed, I just self-medicated with marijuana for a while. I would say that it's not addictive. It's not any of those things, but it is easy to abuse because it is
Sure.
a drug. It's like Tylenol. You know what I mean? Like,
Really,
makes
you don't
feel
find
better here and
weed.
there,
You don't
but-
find weed addictive, huh?
No, I've never been sitting around and been like, oh man, I gotta get some weed.
Oh, you're lucky. I had more trouble quitting that than booze.
Really?
I found weed. I would wake up, I'd roll over.
It is easy. It's easier to do.
Yeah, I found it so fucking addictive. But that's good. Maybe you don't have that addictive gene.
Oh, I
Where-
definitely do. That is something that my
Okay.
father has passed down to me.
Yeah, because it is hereditary. There is no question, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that was a big reason why I never got into alcohol and stuff, because I saw what it did to my father. I saw what it did to my friends, and I know that I have my father's genes in me. And I was like, oh, I know if I even, because I even thought I was like, oh, I'd love to casually drink red wines. You know what
Sure,
I mean? Like,
sure.
I'd love
Oh,
to
just
be at
have a beer.
party. Yeah,
Yeah, and then
And
call
I
everyone I
know-
know.
yeah. As soon as that happens, as soon as I have one, I'll have 1,000 every day.
Right. So the weed did what for you?
it was numbing. It was
Yeah.
it was relief. It took all that, it just took it away. And what really, when my mom passed about a year later, that's when I went off the deep end with marijuana. And I was high 24/7. I was high to the point so much that the only time that I would cry after my mother passed, I would wake up in the middle of the night at 3, 4 in the morning, and I would be sobbing. And I don't know if you've ever woken up in the middle of a sleep. I'm not talking like, oh, I woke up
Only
sad.
after sex.
Yeah.
Only after sex.
But
Never
just
sleep.
Complete breakdown sobbing, because that was the only time that my subconscious was able to process grief, was
Sure, 'cause
while
you
I
weren't
was
numb.
sleeping, sobering up, and
Oh,
it was a problem for a long time. And so I didn't handle it correctly right away. And, there was a couple years like that.
Yeah.
And, but then I got into self-care. I started to really, you and I have had many talks. You've helped me a lot with the idea of coming around to therapy and self-care and all that stuff. And with your stories about addiction and therapy. And that's a motivator, because for me, again, coming from the Midwest, coming from the family I came to, where we are taught to be strong and hold down those emotions,
yeah.
I was so scared to let those go and actually experience them. And that's truly how you get through it, is you have to experience it. You have to just let go and allow it to happen. You have to be sad. You have to cry. You have to be angry, because if you're not, you're going to be pent up, and you're going to be, you don't know what to do with that energy.
That's right.
And you just go numb. And that's what I was for so long, was just numb and angry. And you can't do that. You can't do that.
So how'd you get through it? Did you have any help? Did you have any therapy? Did you just, where are you at today?
Yeah, I read I did it. I did it in an unconventional way. I started getting into self-help books and stuff, and I started listening to music. Music's a big motivator for me. It helps me write. It helps me, get through my day. Stuff like I always have music going, and so I found some solace in that. And then I eventually started going to therapy for a little while. And I wish I was still in it. I wish I was doing it more, but therapy for me was hard to access. Living in a city like Los Angeles, there's a lot of people that are in the therapy sessions and taking up those slots. So, and you and I've spoken about this, where the first time I signed up for it, even in my special, I talk about it. It took them 2.5 months before I got to talk to anybody.
That's so fucked up.
And it was
really not good.
Yeah,
and that's with health insurance?
Health insurance involved, calling around, trying to find providers that would work with. What I found too was like these loopholes, these weird loopholes where you'd call a therapist and you'd say, okay, you're in my network, right? Yeah. And they would say, yeah, we take it and da-da-da. You have to call your place. So I would call my health insurance. I'd say, look, I found a person. They take, your brand or whatever the fuck. Here you go. And they would say, oh, we don't work with them. You have to call them. And so then I'd call them back, and then it's just phone
And
tag.
this is with health insurance.
Yes.
This is with coverage.
Yeah,
So it's
if
yeah.
Kaiser.
And when you have no coverage, it's even worse.
I
So
can't
it's
imagine.
again a big reason why people have to health, especially mental health. God knows where we are in this country with that, but we back burner all the shit that's so important to us.
Yeah, and because again, I think it feeds in that macho ego awareness that we have in this country, where like, oh, going to therapy ain't for me, man.
Right.
I'll just
Right.
punch until I'm happy again.
Right.
Like, come on, guys. What are we doing here?
Sure. Well, that's so bold of you, man, to come on and talk about this stuff, because the way you're feeling isn't the way you were raised. So you came through it, and you're sharing it, and that's huge for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to change the narrative.
Yeah. And you're doing it through your humor and your book. Show the book, Trav, dead serious. It's a great book. I'm really, really proud of you for putting it out there, because again, you're using your art, not just that you're so friggin' funny, but you're using your art to help heal. And it's healed you, the cathartic experience is two-way, which is when you can do that is so powerful, man.
I think a little bit of the sugar makes the medicine go down. And I think
indeed.
That's what I try to do is, you feed them a few jokes, and then you get to talk about some serious stuff. You feed them a few jokes, you get to talk about some serious stuff.
Yeah.
And it's good for everybody,
So if someone's watching, if one of the 9 people that are watching this podcast right now, not including us,
right,
if they're struggling with loss, what would you say to them, Mikey?
It gets better. And I know that sounds cliche, and I know that sounds dumb and just kind of dismissive, because that's how I felt when people would try to approach me. And they, I think that hearing that also depends on timing. When you're hearing that right away, when you just lose somebody and somebody comes up and like, hey, it gets better, you're like, get fucked.
Yeah. Same when you're going sober and you go, oh, you'll be so much better. And I would tell people, like, fuck do you know?
Yeah. Fucked.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think it really does. It really gets better, and you are in control of that. I know it feels a lot of times, especially when you're deep in it, when you're at your lowest point, it doesn't feel like you have any control. It doesn't feel like you can do anything. You will. And it will get better, and you have control. You just have to use it.
Yeah. I love that, man. You're so enlightening. After I talk with you, I like an hour later, I'm like, man, I'm really fucked up. I don't know this guy is so together, but I love that you've always worn it on your sleeve. I remember you were at the club after your mom had passed, after Wayne had, and the way you did, your authenticity, your transparency, that is how I judge a man. And my hat's off to you. How's the girlfriend? Is she still there?
Yeah.
Was she hiding? No.
She's tied up.
Give her. Okay, you got to go back to that Marion man once in a while. Give her my best and my love to you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for being real. Again, the special, of course, is Laugh After Death. The book is dead serious. This is Mike Malone. And if you feel that you have the balls to get real, this is the guy you want to watch, because so funny and talented and loving. And I wish you the best. I hope to see you soon, man.
Thank you, Brad. Yeah, and thank you for all your help, all your advice. And
please.
Just being you, man. I appreciate it.
I'm back at you. Thank you, Mike. Be well. Oh, boy. Wasn't that wonderful? Mike Malone. So funny. I'll tell you, I just to watch him and when he would work the club in Vegas, and just he would just crush. But it is great when a comic leaves you with something, because many times you'll go, my God, I laughed for so long, and really, what was your favorite part of the show? I don't remember. I don't remember a joke. But you see people connect with comics like Mike, and you go, wow, that's pretty special, because comics get into the business, most stand-ups, so they don't have to be themselves. So they can kind of hide, which is okay. I mean, there are times I do that most of the time, right? Only later in my life, and he's way ahead of me, Mike, as far as that being able to just be that real on stage, to show that a side of vulnerability. And I think we need to see that now more than ever. So, Travis, are you still there? How are you,
Here,
Travis?
baby.
Okay. How's your camera? You want to get the Vaseline off the lens, or what do you?
Is it blurry?
What are you,
You know-
Liz Taylor? Just that's a
I
little.
do that just for you.
I know you do. Well, wasn't that wonderful?
He
See
is
Malone, man.
He's
right?
amazing. You know, Debbie actually was in the audience of that taping, and she came back and was just like, wow, I don't know what I just witnessed, but it was really something special.
And we should tell the
Yeah.
people, Debbie Gutierrez is your husband.
Correct.
And she is no, she is so wonderful. I call her my sister, and she goes, please stop.
Yeah, please stop
But
calling me.
she is a huge friend, and you're an amazing wife, and an incredible, funny stand-up, and
Yes, she is.
and she's had her own talk show on PBS and was nominated for an Emmy, and that's when she stopped talking to me. But
When
she's
she
gonna.
got the Peabody Award is when she stopped talking to you.
Did she get a Peabody Award?
She is a Peabody Award-winning
A
talk show
Peabody
host.
Award. That is
Yes.
unbelievable, and that is from the again, because I'm that's from the Sherman and Peabody, I believe, cartoon.
Great.
Is that the same thing? Hello, I
You're
can't be a hack even on my own show.
It's
I'll
a
show you
good
what I
call.
could do. A Peabody Award winner. That's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. I think I will talk to her differently now.
You
And
should.
when she walks by me, I won't go, oh, we need more chips and salsa.
Whenever we get
Because
into
when
an
I say
argument,
that, she fucking hates me. She, and I know she laughs at that, but I know deep down it's like, you fucking Jew talking to me like that. You should be fucking opening for me and kissing my ass, because I know that's the side of the reality. But Deb goes, that's okay. He was hurt as a giant child. And we're
Yeah.
going to let that go, and I'll kick his ass on stage, which is what but Deb's going to come on the show and talk about things that she's passionate about. And I think one of them is maybe leaving you. That won't be the A story, Trav. But Trav, you have to find out about things. I know. How long have you guys been married?
We've been together for 26 years.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
And
Isn't
we
that
still
great?
like it. We it's communication. And that's what you and I have been talking a lot about.
Yeah.
The
don't have to rub it in.
foundation of good relationship between me and you. The reason why we've been dating so long is because we talk. We talk a lot, you and me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what well, you're both very communicative people and very honest and open. And as long as you do what Debbie says,
Correct.
life will be grand.
And when I don't, she goes, Peabody, and it just goes right by, and I have to stop
Right.
the
She
argument.
carries the Peabody.
She
around.
carries it in her pocket.
As she should. My love to you both. Thank you for talking about voting and getting rid of Captain Marmalade. He's going to be gone. I just can't wait. My thanks again to Mike Malone. It's okay to ask for help, people. The minute I sign off, I'm going to call a lighting company and maybe get a transfusion and see what this is. I'm telling you, I did get it checked, and they went, I don't know what it is. I have different things. I'll let you know how the colonoscopy goes. I feel very, very good about it. Hopefully they'll find my high school ring. And I wish you all the best health, happiness. Thank you, Trev. Thank you, Deb, my sis. Love you, Mikey. Be well. While this podcast may discuss medical issues and at times answer or discuss listeners' questions, this podcast is not offering any individual medical advice, nor meant to substitute for individualized professional medical treatment or advice. So please remember that all content is for informational purposes only. And please consult with your own healthcare provider for your own issues and diagnosis. If you think you may have a medical emergency, do the right thing and call your doctor or go to a local emergency room or call 911 immediately. Never delay seeking individualized help for a problem based on something discussed here. Take care of yourself. You're worth it.